Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a trope that I can't believe that I haven't done yet. It should have been one of the first ones that I have ever talked about on this channel. Honestly, this should have been my first video ever. It is the enemies to lovers trope. It is my favorite book trope of all time because there are such great micro tropes that go along with it. Who did this to you? Touch her and you die. Touch him and you die. It's when they have banter, they yearn, they grovel. It is perfect. Everything about enemies to lovers is perfect. It's just there's nothing wrong with an enemies to lovers. So today I thought I would talk about some books that remind me of enemies to lovers. Okay, so the books that I'm going to be discussing are honestly one of my top favorite books that I've read recently. They're all enemies to lovers, except for like two of them. They're like in their own category. I wouldn't even say like they have a like trope. The first book that we're going to talk about is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I did not think that I would like this book. When I first heard this book, it is a vampire and werewolf romance. And you're like, Hannah, how does that work? I'll tell you. So the storyline goes, you have Misery. She's a vampire. She's from a vampire family. Then you have Lo, who is this new alpha male werewolf, which not like the bad type of alpha male, like a legitimate alpha male leader of the werewolf pack. He's the only alpha male that I like. Misery is forced into this marriage with Lo, and she has no say on it, but she does everything for her family and for her kind, for her vampire kind. They combine these two and holy matrimony. Well, is it holy if it's a werewolf and vampire? They marry each other. What is it? What's the trope? Arranged marriage of convenience. The marriage of convenience. It's to have peace between the two species, and things go awry as they're together. She goes and lives with him and his werewolf pack. She thinks that he can't stand her. There's just a whole nother story going on, and it's so good. I actually highly recommend. I haven't read, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have not read the physical copy. I listened to it on Spotify, and the audiobook made me buy the physical copy. So I'm definitely gonna be reading this in like the fall for like vampire, werewolf fall vibes, but I do recommend this book. Following along with the vampire romance, we're going to talk about The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I love this book. I need to buy the second book because I think that the third one is going to be coming out soon, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's in November. So I really want to read the second one. It ended kind of on a cliffhanger. Well, yes, cliffhanger. Yes, there was a cliffhanger. I really enjoyed this book. I didn't know if I would, but I've learned that I do love a good storyline when it comes to trials. Okay, it is a fantasy book, so I probably will say the names wrong, but it follows Oriah. She is a human. She's grown up in vampire world, and her father is kind of like the leader of vampires, I guess. She wants to be in these trials that take place like every 100 years or every certain amount of time. There's these trials that vampires go into, and there's only one winner. Everyone else is... She wants to win. She wants to win very badly. She's the only human in a trial full of vampires, so she makes a unwanted alliance with another vampire called Rain. That's what I've been calling him. I could be pronouncing it wrong. They have an unlikely friendship, an unlikely alliance. There's some banter. They go back and forth, and tension arises in this book. The storyline is really good. It kind of, you know, again with trials, I'm always going to compare it to Hunger Games, but I really did enjoy this. It was very entertaining. Although it was like Hunger Games, it was something that I've never read before when it comes to like vampires and trials and humans, and it was just overall a really good storyline, and I do love the guy in this book. Honestly, like all of these men are like top tier. The next book that we shall discuss is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I actually enjoyed The Cruel Prince. I didn't hate it. I was expecting a lot more from it, from of how crazy book talk goes over this series. I didn't hate it, but when I went on to start the second book, I didn't like it. There were so many characters that were getting introduced. I was getting confused. I didn't trust any of the characters, and I didn't really care to like any of the characters also, except for the main female, and she was kind of annoying me at times. Still love her. Powerful girl, human in Fae land and fairyland, I guess. I don't really know. Carden has a tail. Everyone has to say that, so I'm gonna say it too. He has a tail. But he bullies Jude all the time. And you know when they would say in like kindergarten or in elementary school that if a guy bullies the girl or if a guy bullies you, he likes you? But I want to continue on with the series, but I'm gonna see if it's on Kindle Unlimited. And I posted something on TikTok saying something from this book, and people spoiled it in the comments. The second book ending and things that take place in the third book. So now I know what happens. So like, why read it, you know? But I'll go around to it eventually. But I'm very annoyed because why? This next book was the first book that I read this year, I believe, and it was my, well, I don't know, maybe it wasn't my first book that I read this year, but it was definitely the first 5 stars that I had read this year, and it was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. It feels so long ago I read this book and begging the stars that the second book would come out. The second book's come out and I haven't read it yet. There's been a novella too that came out and I haven't read that either. Peyton is an ordinary, which means she has no powers in this land of people who have powers. If you don't have powers, you are Kai, who is the next enforcer to the king, so he leads the armies, he has, you know, he's in charge of all of the guards. Peyton and Kai run into each other, she saves his life, and she is then thrown into these Hunger Game, again, like trials, where all of these teenagers in these trials have powers, and she doesn't have powers, but she's tricking everyone into thinking that she does have powers because she doesn't want to die. So she has all this willpower to survive through these trials, and she can't let anyone know that she doesn't have powers. And the banter, it's not a world building book, I'm gonna tell you that right now. It is for the romance girlies. Honestly, it really isn't an enemies to lovers also, because you can feel the tension like right off the bat, and you can tell that they find each other attractive, but it's because of the trials and that they have to go against each other. That's kind of what makes them enemies, but at the same time they form an alliance. So, you know, take this with a grain of salt with an actual enemies to lovers, but so many people say that this is enemies to lovers. The author says it's an enemies to lovers, so that's why I'm putting it in this category. Again, I love the banter. I love Kai. The quotes that this guy says, I don't know what the heck Lauren was smoking when she wrote his quotes, but she needs to give me some because his quotes are phenomenal. I literally highlighted every single thing that this man said. This was the first book that I actually highlighted almost every single page in this book because of him. I got hearts all around this book because of him. And he's fictional. The next book is Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. I read this during my Reading Dark Romance month in February, and it was a doozy, I'm gonna tell you that. This book was okay. I think I gave it 3 stars. I don't really remember. Enzo and Sawyer meet. Sawyer is on the run and you don't know why. She meets Enzo, they kind of have like a one-night stand, and she ends up taking his identity. He finds out, he seeks revenge, he takes her on his boat. Things go down on the boat. They end up getting shipwrecked on a deserted island with the lighthouse. Now, I say deserted island with the lighthouse because it's actually not deserted at all. It's like a thriller. It's a scary book. I remember like freaking out when I was reading the ending because I didn't like it. But when it comes to like the romance aspect of it, it was just kind of annoying, honestly. Like they would fight a lot and then they would have sex. And then after they were done, they would fight again. Take away the romance and take away all of like the smut aspect of it. It is a good thriller. That's why I'm recommending it. The next one has my favorite boy, or like top 3. It goes back and forth with what mood I'm in, but The Predator. I love him. I love Tristan Kane. This has Tristan Kane. He is a mafia security guy for a family. Then you have the rival family, which has Marana. They don't like each other. The families do not like each other. Something went down. They're against each other. Well, Marana is super smart. She develops kind of like a techie thing that gets into the wrong hands, and Tristan and Marana have to work together to figure out who's coming after these two families and how to get her like techie thing back. The storyline is crazy good. one of the best storylines that I've read in a long time. I think it's really well, like, it's well done. The tension in this book is like insane. I love the tension. I don't need things to like happen. I think that's why I like Powerless so much. Nothing happens with this book. Is there's so much tension, there's so much buildup. They hate each other. He literally says like, no one else will kill you except for me. But I love it and I ate it up, and I like need to continue on with the series because it's so good. And what's annoying is I just found out that he's blonde. I forgot he was blonde. How let's talk about this really fast. How in the world is my #1 book boyfriend blonde? I would have never thought that. Why do I not picture him, like, I picture him as brunette? Maybe because like all my favorite guys are brunette. I saw fan art of it recently because I haven't read this book in a little bit, well, since February. Alright, the next 2 books that I'm going to talk about are on my handy dandy little Kindle, and the first one we will talk about is The Veiled Kingdom by Holly Renee. I just read this book probably 2 months ago, and it was so good. It, like, again, the storyline is okay, but it's really entertaining. It really is. I need to read the other series that she has. This, The Veiled Kingdom, Dacre? Excuse me? Okay, so there's a pronunciation guide of how to say people's names in the book, okay? It's here. Sorry for the glare. But the main male character, his name is D-A-C-R-E. I was saying Dacre, but it says it's pronounced Dacre. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep calling Dacre. Dacre? Dacre. Why spell it like that then? I'm so confused. Nira is the lost princess. She's run away from the castle because her father is like a tyrant king. She has a whole backstory and everything. She ran away and she runs into this rebellion. They ended up taking her. They don't know that she's the lost princess. She's just some rando to him. She goes to their headquarters and basically trains. They like have so much tension. They hate each other. They hate each other, but there's attraction there, and I think that's what makes them hate each other even more, is they're like, I can't find you attractive, and I hate that I find you attractive, and I hate that you're perfect and beautiful and you're handsome and all this stuff, and I hate your face, but I love your face, you know? That's this book. And the things that this man says in this book is just like, I don't even know how to finish that statement. Anyways, I'm waiting for the second one to come out. Hopefully it'll come out soon. I think it does in August. I feel like I'm not giving these books a great description, but I don't want to give away too much. I feel like people don't know how to summarize books anymore, so I'm trying to not give away too much, but I feel like now I'm not giving away enough information for you to like really want to read it. But anyways, the last book that we're going to talk about is The Book of Azriel. And it is so good. I don't see people talk about this book enough. It needs to be talked about. Diana is one of the fiercest women characters that I have ever read in a book. Diana is this monster creature that was created by this man who is a literal villain, like terrible man. He is not good at all, and he has like little minion monsters too that she works with. Well, she does some mission for He Who Shall Not Be Named, okay? This Book of Azriel. It's a whole thing. The end of the first book ends on a huge cliffhanger. I'm a little bit into the second book. I need to finish it. It's taking me a while. I've been on like such a slump, but I'm trying to get out of it. So definitely recommend the Book of Azriel. There are so many enemies to lovers, and I will continue to read them, but those are all the ones that I have that are pretty much enemies to lovers. Like I said, there were some that kind of toe the line of being enemies to lovers, but I thought I should include it because there is some good banter, some good dialogue, or a good storyline, all that stuff. I'm going to end the video here. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe for more videos to come. If you want to follow me on any other social media platforms, I will have them linked all down below in the description, and I hope to be seeing you in the next video. Bye!